guys.
Damn, so I was actually waiting on this cat to show up, and he showed up, but I think he got the runs. And I say that because look at this. So that's not good, right?
No bueno. Call the ambulance.
But so
Let's
yeah,
see if we could get this guy revived.
we got some plans. We got some plans to get this guy back up and going. Obviously, you know, there's a few things that we got to do to it to make it right, and I'm not too worried. Not too worried. We're gonna get on it. We're gonna make this thing haul ass once again, but it's gonna take some time. All right, yeah. Out of all places, it ended up here, literally almost here, overheating.
Good, bro.
But
At least we got the Taurus, bro.
yeah, but Curly came through, so yeah, we're gonna have at it pretty soon. All right, I'll have to, obviously I'm gonna have to move the spider out of the company, out of the tent, out of the work area, and then we'll bring this guy back in there once we're ready for it. All right, yeah. All right, so we're gonna bring the spider, or we're gonna take out the spider out of the DSM work area, and we're gonna bring Curly's car in here. All right, so initially this car was actually gonna come down, and we were actually gonna upgrade a few things in the motor, but nevertheless it came here, and it came here like a steam train. It got here overheating, and yeah, we're pretty confident, you know, the head gasket needs to be replaced, obviously, because of the milky residue on the overflow bottle. So anyways, here's a little preview of what is yet to be installed. Besides the head gasket, this is what initially the car came in here for, but nevertheless I'll show you guys a few of the upgrades that we have in plan for this car. So first of all, we're actually planning on changing out that stock 2G intake manifold and putting this guy in, as well as a S90 throttle body. Okay, can't go wrong with that. He wanted to change out the oil filter housing, the sandwich oil filter housing, for facing forward, so he ended up getting that. And you know, you got your gasket for that, and you have to have your specific type of bolts for the oil filter housing, because they're a different length, I guess, than the original, than the OEM. Cam seals, why? Because bam, because of this. Okay, we were gonna actually upgrade the cams this time. We're not gonna change the cams to the stock cams. We're actually gonna upgrade the cams, and then yeah, might as well do a little oil change. But besides this, we're actually gonna pull out the head. We're gonna pull out the cylinder head and take it out, have it machined, have it cut, make sure nothing's wrong with it, get it pressure checked, and if everything checks out fine, slap it on. We're gonna actually plan on doing some ARP head studs, you know, and a fresh gasket, add a fresh gasket to those ARPs along with the ARPs. And then yeah, after that, hopefully, cross our fingers, should be ready to for some decent power. Okay, so anyways, I'll break this video down in the course of you know, a few days, obviously, until we get everything back together. But nevertheless, stay tuned, guys. I'll update you guys as I go along, and once I start the head gasket process, I'll be back, and yeah, we'll have at it. Okay, so I'll see you guys soon. All right, so let's go ahead and start jacking up the car. We're gonna start tearing this thing apart, and I'll put you guys in time lapse. All right, let's go. All right, so once again, like I mentioned, I mean, this is just a personal preference, but it's up to you guys. Prior to taking out the timing belt, I actually like to line up all the marks if possible, line them up, and then and then after that have that threaded tool to compress the tensioner arm, bring it down, compress the tensioner, the hydraulic tensioner. That way we have a little bit of slack to remove the timing belt, and it's not so difficult to slide out. Okay, we can chop it, but this timing belt is actually fairly new, so we would like to keep it if possible. All right. All right, so we pretty much compressed the hydraulic tensioner with that rod. Now, as you can see, we have plenty of slack here at the bottom, and that's pretty much a good indication that we can slide this off without us damaging the belt. Okay. There we go. That's pretty much it. All right, so if you are reusing the timing belt, meaning, you know, the timing belt is fairly new, you're going to be reusing it, which in this case we most likely are, you actually want to mark it in the direction the belt rotates. Okay, that way when you put it back on, you could put it on the same way. So we're going to mark it the same way that this was on the engine and it was rotating. Okay, so we're just going to put an arrow here. I know it's kind of difficult for you guys to see, but there it is. Okay, we're gonna do maybe 2 arrows just so we won't get mixed up, and that's it. All right, so now now that we got the timing belt off, we're actually gonna start removing, or at least unclip the connectors for the engine bay harness for the engine. And we're gonna start all the way at the bottom. I already did them, but this is just so you guys know if you guys are doing it the first time. We're gonna do the AC connector, the AC compressor connector, which actually looks like a little triangle. Okay, at the very bottom. You can't see it, and I'm sorry for the lighting, but this is what it should look like. Okay, and then following after that, this is a 98. 98s and 99s, they have like a little emissions connector here on the intake manifold, so you have to undo that. Okay, and then you have your crank connector that leads all the way to the bottom, but there's a bracket in between here that looks like a triangle as well. Don't mix them. One way to know which one is which, the AC connector is longer than your crank. That's how you distinguish both of them. Okay, and then after that, we're gonna do this connector here. It's supposed to alleviate noises from the, I guess you can say, from the radio. There we go. So we get that guy off, and then following after that, we're gonna do the injector number 1 clip. All right, injector number 2 clip, injector number 3 clip, and if you can get it, this one has larger AN lines leading to a catch can, but if you can get it, this is number 4. Okay, you got to do all that. Now you got to disconnect your coil pack. Okay, and it's again a triangle connector. There you are. Okay, now I'm gonna undo this sensor here, the map sensor, and there's a clip actually holding it. Okay, so you got to remove the clip in order for you to even try to undo it. Okay, so we got to undo the clip here, and then yeah. All right, so one thing to look out for, because when you do undo this pin, it could actually bounce off the engine bay. So you kind of want to have your hand in the general area, like around here, just above it, so you know when you undo the clip, it won't pop out on you, and you know, next thing you know, you're looking for this pin and you can't find it because it's so little, you know, and it's so hard to find if you lose it. Anyways, so we'll go ahead and do that, and now you can undo the clip like so. Okay, same thing with the TPS. It actually has a clip as well. You're gonna want to undo that, and then you have your power transistor here at the middle. All right, we're gonna undo this. I think the owner ended up doing a little job right here with some black tape to hold it in place. But anyways, yeah, go ahead. So just so you guys know, there is a clip right here. Okay, there is a clip right here. You just press it and technically it should come out, but this the owner, I think, ended up doing a little bit of black tape just to keep this thing in place. I'm going to show him a trick once we install that manifold that he wants to install, so it can stay locked in place. Okay, so anyways, there it is. Bam. And another thing that you guys need to do if you have this, there's actually two 10mm bolts holding onto the harness here. You want to undo those, so I'm going to go ahead and do that just to get it a little bit more free. Done. Okay, and now see, you have a little bit more play on this harness, so you can kind of maneuver it around if you need to. I'm gonna try to get it out of here. And you see it's already coming out nice and neat. Like I said, the TPS connector, I'm gonna focus on doing that. And then also there's a connector for the knock sensor right here. Okay, I'm gonna undo that, and that should be able to get me at least to slide the harness in that direction, so we can get it out of the way where we need to work. Okay. All right, so pretty much almost done with all the stuff that I needed to remove here at the top. I actually got the top intercooler piping off, and also I disconnected the TPS, disconnected the knock sensor connector, the cam angle sensor connector as well. And in order for me to shove it to the passenger side, in this case I actually have to remove the very beginning of the fuel rail. So there's two 10mm bolts holding onto it, one here and one at the bottom. If you plan on doing this and removing this this fuel line, make sure you do it on a cold engine. Make sure the car's been sitting for a good while. That way the fuel pressure in the system is not as high as it normally would right after a warm engine. Okay, so anyways, you be aware there is going to be some fuel that's going to drop to the bottom, and that's totally normal. Okay, and then you can just simply shove it to the side, and we can get our harness, the majority of the harness, and then we can actually shove that thing to the side as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. All right. Bam, and you can put it to the side where it won't be in the way anymore. I also ended up doing the connectors for the coolant temperature sensor and also the dummy light for your dash. I ended up disconnecting those as well, and also the idle air control valve connector as well. Okay, so that's that. I'm gonna focus on removing the injectors and also removing the intake manifold. Once I do all of that, I'll be back and I'll show you guys what I did. Okay. All right, so we got the fuel injectors out of the car, and it's actually 3 12mm holding each other. There's black spacers in there. I actually I guess I can give you guys a tip, because they're very easy to lose if you maneuver the fuel rail, taking out the injectors all at once. Sometimes they can be easy to lose because nothing's holding on to them. Here's a little tip I can give you guys. When it's time to reinstall them or reinstall the fuel rail, you can get those little black spacers, and at the very bottom apply a very thin coat of RTV silicone, and they should stay in place for the next time. If you ever need to remove the fuel rail, you won't be too eerie about losing that, because they'll stay in place. Nevertheless, it's time to remove the intake manifold. We got a few 12mm bolts, mainly on the insides. Okay, we have to break those loose, and then on the outsides there should be 14mm. Okay, on the outsides. Don't forget, there's actually I'm sorry, a total of 3 14mm bolts holding on the intake manifold onto the block. So we need to get rid of those. Okay, because otherwise you can loosen all these guys up here at the top and also at the bottom, But if you don't get that bracket out of the way, there's no way you're going to be able to remove it. So anyways, I'll be back once we do that. All right, so we got the intake manifold off. And I'm going to show you at the intake manifold what bolts we need to remove, or what I ended up removing actually. So we got a few. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, a total 10 bolts. 4 at the bottom. They're accessible at the bottom, but you do have to remove the bracket I'm telling you that holds the intake manifold onto the block. Okay, and that's a total of 3 14mm bolts. Remove that bracket so you can access the bolts at the very bottom. Okay, and then from the very top you can actually access this one and all the other ones at the top. And once you do that, it should become, you know, pretty free. There's a series of, you know, vacuum lines that you have to remove, but nevertheless, yeah, there's a series of vacuum lines that you have to remove. And yeah, that's it. So anyways, next thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna dismantle the top of the head, the valve cover. We're gonna take that off, and also the thermostat housing, which actually I'm gonna focus on the thermostat housing right now. So this is how the this is how the coolant is looking like, and there's still a little bit more left in there, but we just decided to bring this stuff out. So look at that crap, man. So yeah, we're gonna have to flush this thing really well to get all this crap out of there, and obviously replace a lot of the coolant hoses. We're gonna have to replace a lot of the coolant hoses. Hold on. But yeah, this sucks. Anyways, whatever. It's not a huge setback. At least the motor's not knocking. Now, like I said, we're gonna focus on the thermostat housing. You got 1, 2. You got another bolt here on this side here. Hopefully you guys are able to see it. It's right here. And then you have 1 underneath. Okay, they're all 12mm. All of them are 12mm. So we're gonna be removing the thermostat housing. Don't forget to undo your lines that go to your throttle body. Undo those coolant lines. And there is one line here at the very bottom that has to be undone. Here, this one that runs to your heater core. So you have to do that one as well. Okay. Anyways, I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back. Alright, so we got the thermostat housing out of the way. You might struggle with it if it's never been removed in the past, especially because this O-ring kind of fuses together with the housing itself. But nevertheless, yeah, just those 4 bolts, to remove. And then we got this this line that runs to the oil cooler, and then you have 1 heater hose that runs, you know, to the back to the firewall. So yeah, not too bad, not too complicated. Obviously you guys can see that this thing, the milky substance, has, you know, gone through the whole motor. So obviously when we put it back together, we're gonna have to do a few radiator flushes, you know, to make it back to where it should be. Alright, so we pretty much got up all the head bolts. They're not studs right now. They're not studs right now, but all the head bolts are loose. One thing I actually like to do is, if I can, I like to stick a screwdriver in this general area, somewhere around here, and kind of pry at it a little bit, okay? Not too much, okay? If it's not giving, don't do it. But you see, I'm I'm lifting the head just slightly, and that's enough just to get it kind of loose, you know. That's pretty much what you want. Okay, so at this point the head is pretty much ready to remove, so we'll go ahead and do that with the assistance of Curly, my friend, and yeah, let's go ahead and have at it. Alrighty, so we're ready to pull it off. Just wiggle it a little bit, lift it off, and bring it over here to our workbench area. And there you are. At least we're going to be working on this head here in this general area. I'm going to disassemble it. I'm going to take off the cams and the rockers, the lifters, all that good stuff, the cam angle sensor as well. Nevertheless, I'm going to disassemble it here, and then after that it's off to the machine shop so they can deck it, make sure, well, before even decking it, pressure checking it, making sure all the valves are sealing. If not, do a valve job and all that good stuff, so we can get it ready, you know, to install it once the time comes. Okay, so the DSM guys, local guys, came by, and I'm just gonna give you guys some extra footage of what their cars look like. So obviously you guys know about this one here, and we got the Spider over here. Curly's working on that radiator. We got the parts car here. We got my brother's GST. We got George's Talon right here. This is the car you guys haven't seen before yet. So we got Adrian's. You guys seen this car? No me digas que ya chingas el lip. Bro, you drive a lowered car and you don't know to watch out? Forever, dude. Just break the lip, dude. Well, 355. Just break the lip, dude. So yeah, just a mini DSM meet, if you will. What? No se queden callados. Oh, you're actually recording? Yeah. Or, yeah, take that sticker off, bro. It's been saved by Tony. Staying on right now. Just do it.
Hey, that was a rare one. That was a special order right there.
You got a special order?
Yeah.
How much was it? Like $10? Yeah, no, yeah.
The white one's fucking like 5. So.
Bro, really? The DSM scene sticker isn't even that much, bro.
Nah, I'm gonna take them off though. It's 300,
yeah. Y la
quebrada?
free.
Y
la quebrada free.
Fuck. So I'm guessing that bumper needs to be replaced now?
No, the bumper's fine. Just fucking. Because the washers that I put on there, it went through, so I have to put bigger washers. And then once I take out the washers.
Break it more.
I have to put bigger washers, I can take out the zip ties. It's because I was driving on the freeway and it was fucking slapping.
Oh.
And yeah, I need to change that shit.
Yeah.
¿Y cuánto salió este lip?
300.
Yeah.
Only cool thing.
It's chump change for a person that builds show cars.
The only thing with carbonetics is oh yeah.
¿Qué onda, güey? ¿Qué? Are you back to work on your car or what? Not this time? Oh, okay. It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It ain't no Chick-fil-A, but I guess it'll do. Yeah, all of a sudden everyone gets quiet. Y luego, especially this guy. Está bien chiviado,
the fucking black hot, bro.
Alright guys, tune in. We're about to smash out to El Compita. Yeah. Right here with the homie Tony.
Don't get flustered, dude.
And well, that's it for today. I'm working on cars.
Yeah, that's it for working on cars, but he did say, even though I didn't get it on camera, he did say, the place that we're going to, we're actually going to go get something to eat. If you guys don't have that in your town, we feel really bad for you, because that place is the spot.
Place to be at.
Yeah.
place to go.
Anyway, so we're gonna hit that spot, and I'll film a little bit once we get there, and yeah, let's go. We're here at the spot. Yeah.
Let's go eat some fucking mariscos, guys. It's about time to get that vitamin. And you know, they say that if you wanna, you know, go into action, you wanna hit the ring a couple times, this is the way to go.
Yeah.
We're done trying to get the long shot.
Secure the bag, guys.
So that's pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully you guys found it a little bit informational, and I'm not gonna say this is a general guide to remove a head gasket, because it really isn't, but nevertheless you guys have a general understanding of what's needed, or at least what you guys need to do in order for you to remove the head. Nevertheless, yeah, we have it here. I'm gonna actually disassemble it. I'm not gonna include it in the video because you guys have most than likely seen that in the past with Jacob's car, I believe. So I'm gonna be disassembling the head and just getting it ready for the machine shop, so for them to inspect it and make sure everything's good. Hopefully there's no cracks, internal cracks with the head, knock on wood. But nevertheless, if everything checks out fine, valve job and all that good stuff. All right, I will probably be back as soon as, you know, we get the head back and we make sure everything's good. We do got to clean up the surface on the block because it did have the OEM head gasket. Nevertheless, stay tuned, guys. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys out in the next one.